Who's your emergency contact? Who should we notify in the case of death? Welcome to the USP, where I spent the last 2+ decades of my life. I'm just taking you guys through the course of my journey. And right now I'm stuck in a cell in the SMOOTH program in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. Not a whole lot goes on in there besides just being in your cell. And every incident that happens, we're not able to hear it. We're not able to see it or even hear it. All we hear is when the CO's on our tier starts running and you hear the keys jangling, then you know something's happening, but it might be in another block or whatever. So through the course of the time, we get bits and pieces of what happened over here, what happened over there. But right now, I just want to take you guys back to Beaumont. This incident that I'm about to share with you guys happened before I got there. And it was relayed to me by my cellie, Omar Spearman, that I was cellies with in Florence before I came home. Me and him was under investigation for homicide after that killing in my block. A few DCs killed a Texas dude, and they said that me and my cellie was helping the DCs hide their knives, so they locked us up with everybody for an investigation. I was in the SHU for about 4 months. So while we're in the SHU, you're locked down in the SHU, it's pretty much 24/7 lockdown. For the first 2 months, me and my cellie couldn't get no rec because of whatever, the way they were doing the yard. You had to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, stand by the door to sign up for rec. But how do you do that when you're not allowed to have a watch or a radio or a clock or anything? So for the first 2 months, we missed out on rec until we got put on another range where somebody that stays up all night helps notify everybody that, hey, they're coming for rec. Get up. If you're standing up, sign up for rec, which is fucked up. But, we'll get to that story when the time comes. But this story I want to share with you guys is just about understanding your environment and who you're dealing with. You have to understand, for the majority of people that are locked up, they're locked up for a reason. They're locked up because they're prone to violence and they have no issues with violence. They're locked up because they're a serious individual living a certain lifestyle that is a threat to the community or to the system, or that is deemed a threat to the community and system. Everybody, a lot of times people look at, when you say the word hustle, that you're hustling, that you're a hustler, they think you're taking the easy way out. It's fast money. They don't feel like it's as hard as a 9 to 5. But for those people that say those things that, oh, you're just so prone to go after the easy money, you're a hustler, you're looking for the easy way out. What do people never hustle? Because from personal experience, I can tell you, hustling is hard work. It's hard work because there's a lot of different mechanism that has to be put in place and has to go right for you to be able to achieve your goals, which is, if you're hustling, you're pursuing that money. So pursuing that money, it might not be back-breaking labor, but by no means is it easy, especially in the environment that you have to move around in, the people you have to deal with. There's a death trap around every corner. So for all those that say that these hustlers take the easy way out, again, they ain't never hustled in their life. You waking up at the crack of dawn, you traveling across state line. But not only that, you're ducking all the busters, all the eyes and all the potential traps that not just the people in the street can put you in, but also the authorities. You know, so it's almost like hustle at your own risk. And at the end of the day, you know, no matter how much money you accumulate, if you're sitting in a box, serving a life sentence, serving 2 decades, when you're able to contemplate it and reflect on it, it's not really worth it. But at a time where you're out here in the street trying to feed your family, trying to accumulate the material things that you want, you're not really thinking about the end game. And the end game is you end up in a box, whether it's 6 feet beneath your feet or the ones that got barbed wire fence and gun towers surrounding you. But you know, when some people, they grow up living that lifestyle, it's all they know. So when they hit the penitentiary, it's the same mentality. I got to get this money. But there's guys, and I'm sure there's ladies too in the female penitentiary. I don't think they have a female penitentiary, but the female prisons, FCIs or camps or whatever, they still have responsibility, especially if you're in there, you have kids. You're still trying to do your part as a man, as a woman, the best you can to feed your kids. So you're still willing to take certain risks to be able to get that and do that for them. But the story I'm sharing with you today, like I said, it was relayed to me by my cellie, Omar Spearman. He's in Florence. He's currently in Florence, Colorado right now, USP. That is Mexican guy. He was dealing with the Crips. And he had his girl coming in, bringing him the sack. But for some reason or not, he couldn't get the sack himself on the street. So he always looked for a third party to supply him with the stuff. And then he'd have his girl bring it in and they make their move in the visiting room. So, you know, there's no secrets in the penitentiary. So people see that he's making these moves. And I don't know who approached who, but he sat down and had a conversation with a couple of Crips saying, yeah, I can bring the stuff in if you got the stuff that for me to get. If you can put it in my girl's hand, I'll have it put in. Like I said, you know, to be able to achieve your goal, to be able to be successful in these things that you do, it takes a lot of different parts for it to work. And you being in a cell, you really have no control over what happens out on the streets while you're trying to make this move. You're relying and dependent on your people to make sure your people's on top of their game out here. So at the end of the day, these Crip dudes sent him the pack. They put a tracking number on it, you know, because you're dealing with people from different states, different region, and they mailed it to him. And when the time came, the Crips approached the Mexican dude and said, hey, the stuff's at your house. So the Mexican called his girl. He said, hey, baby, that stuff should be there. Go check it out. Well, her girl went and looked. She didn't see nothing. She replied back, no, it's not here yet. You know, and in there, you can only get on the phone so often. And your people have their schedule where they're working or doing other activities or whatever it is. So it's not just, you're not on a cell phone like, hey, you know, in real time tracking this shit down. So he comes back and tells the Crip dude, hey, my girl said it ain't there yet. But the Crip was like, nah, homie, it's there. Our tracking number says it was delivered today, yesterday, or whatever. So another day goes by. He called his girl again and asked his girl, hey, did you receive the pack? She went and looked around, looked in the mail. Again, she replied back, No, I haven't received it. So I think on the third day, the people he was dealing with, no, they sent it. They got the track number that's saying that stuff is there. So now when this Mexican dude comes back and tells him that his girl hasn't received it, even though his girl hasn't really seen it, and the girl is being honest about it, and he's not playing these dudes. But when you have a tracking number, you know that it made it to its destination. What other choice, what other thought process do you have except start looking at this dude sideways, thinking that this dude is playing you? So they gave him another day. This may be the third day or the fourth day. They say, hey, homie, the stuff is there. Now, again, for a lot of people in there that try to make moves and try to hustle, they have to be aware and be conscious of the people they're dealing with. And I know that part of my message is trying to convey that not all of us in there are fucked up dudes or bad dudes. But me saying that is depending on your opinion of what's right, what's wrong, what's acceptable, and what's not to you. Like for me, I don't have no problem with hustlers. I don't have no issues with gangsters. I don't have people doing the things that they do, living up to the code that they abide by. And when you sign up to certain things, I expect you to fulfill them. And if you're a gangster, when certain things happen, I expect a certain reaction. These dudes are gangsters. These dudes in the penitentiary are serious individuals. So on the third or fourth day, when a Mexican guy comes back and tells him, hey, my girl never got it, man. It ain't there. Well, the Crip dude went and killed him. Killed the Mexican dude. So when that happened, the Mexican dude called his girl and told him what happened to him. And she was like, no, I found it. They had set it in a teddy bear. But she didn't know that. She wasn't informed how it was going to come. But she never received the teddy bear herself. What had happened, she had a roommate. And her roommate had got the mail and put the teddy bear in the closet. So when the guy called, when the Mexican guy's friend called home and told her what had happened to her boyfriend, of course she broke down in tears. She's like, no, it's here. I found it. It's in the closet. My roommate put the teddy bear in the closet. But by then it was too late. Her boyfriend was already dead. And the Crip dude was charged with that for the murder. But I was just talking to somebody today and they told me that he ended up beating the case. They charged him for the body, but the Crip dude, for some reason or however the circumstances happened, he was able to beat that murder case. But my point is, for this episode, is just, when you're dealing with money, when you're dealing with drugs, and you're dealing with serious individuals, there's little room for slip up. You have to be on top of your game. And if you're not there, not able to have 100% control over the situation, you're reliant on other people around you, family members, friends, homies, whatever. And those people have to be on top of their game because it's serious business. These things that we get ourselves into, these things that we deal with in our lives, as far as this side of the law, as far as in the streets, it gets serious real fast. And it was fucked up because on this particular incident, the Mexican dude wasn't playing dude. His girl never received it. His girl didn't know what form it was coming in, and she looked and she didn't find it. She relayed the message back to him. And he was being honest towards the Crip dude that he was dealing with, that he hadn't received it. But from the Crip's perspective is that this dude is playing me. Now, if word gets, he did what he did for two reasons. If word gets out that somebody burned him, then he can never bust a move no more. Everybody's going to burn him. And if he doesn't do anything about it, then again, he can never conduct business in a penitentiary, because the penitentiary is full of predators. You know, I repeat, like, if you don't know if you're a prey or a predator, then you're a prey, because a lion knows he's a lion. There's only two types of inmates in there: victims and predators. And there's 1,001 way to extort somebody, to push up on somebody, and it happens every single day. So the Crip is expected to do what he did, even though it wasn't what he thought it was. But for his safety, to protect his image, to protect himself as far as going forward, to be able to do time and be able to make moves and all that, he couldn't allow someone to burn him. And he went in there and killed dude. You know, there's a lot of content or stories that end up this way, because somebody got in something that they weren't completely prepared for, or that maybe they misunderstood the resources and their connections and portrayed that they had this connection or that connection. You could only put somebody off with your words for so long before they expect some action. That's why when I say, you know, you're on man time, I'm on man time. When I shake somebody's hand, make an agreement, I need to fulfill that. And if I don't fulfill that, then yeah, I expect to be held accountable, whether that's getting my head cracked or losing my life. Because I should never open my mouth about something that I can do if I can't do it. Especially in the environment that I'm in. I'm dealing with serious individuals. And I've always been fortunate enough for my part that the people, the resources I had on the streets, that they were reliable and that they were always able to come through. And if they weren't, they would let me know. If I call them and say, hey, I need this, I need that, and they tell me, oh, I can't do it, it's easier. I accept it and I move on and find some other resources. But I've been fortunate that when my people tell me, yeah, I got that for you, or I can handle that, I'll be able to do that, they're able to do it. Because if they don't, if they tell me, if they lie to me out here on the streets, it's going to cost my life in there in the penitentiary. You know, we have so many obstacles and hazards in the penitentiary as it is. And a lot of them is self-inflicting, self-imposing. But, you know, it's like I said, I want to give the civilians an opportunity to see us as human beings. But at the same time, I'm not going to sugarcoat the level of violence that people, especially the ones that are locked up in the penitentiary, are capable of. We are ourselves judge, jury, and executioner. and our sentence that we sanction are carried out immediately. There's no debating. There's no mediating. Once someone makes up their mind that you fucked them over, they're coming for you. Welcome to the USP.